they would be punished for that because those parents expect that they are going to get A's and they expect perfection all of the time. I don't know what the effects would be on themselves, of how they would internalize that. That would be definitely a good study to look at. I think it would be all or nothing. I think they would either give up and have complete failure, or they would just be so hard on themselves that they would push themselves more. I'm not sure. It's a good question. Thank you. The next area that we're going to look at is the effects of authoritarian parenting style on eating disorders. And Pancraft and Lissette explored the correlation between eating disorders in adolescents and parenting style. They administered the Eating Disorder Inventory 2 and the Parenting Styles and Dimensions questionnaires to 105 pairs of adolescent girls and mothers. These scales were analyzed, and they looked for the characteristics of eating disorders, which were defined in the study as drive for thinness, anorexic bulimic traits, and body dissatisfaction. And they concluded that there were high levels of eating disorder symptoms were correlated with less adaptive parenting styles, which would be the authoritarian, and lower levels of eating disorder symptoms were correlated with more adaptive parenting styles of authoritative. So again, it wasn't completely concluded whether, which end of it, what caused these characteristics to come out, but they did definitely find a correlation. There hasn't been too much studies done on eating disorders and parenting style. I wasn't able to find too much, but they are definitely exploring it a little bit more. So I'm not sure if it's that the parents were so strict and that's what led to it, or what the correlation exactly was. But it is there. And then we looked at the effects of authoritarian parenting style and depression. Plunkett, Henry, Robinson, Bank, and Falcon examined the correlation between adolescent moods and parenting style. 161 adolescents and parents were studied. They used the Beck Depression Inventory. They also used the Rosenberg Self-Esteem Scale and the Peterson Parental Behavior Measure. And those were all used together to assess if there was any correlation between parenting style, authoritarian parenting style, and depression. And they concluded that there is a correlation between parental behaviors, which would be the parenting style, and the moods of adolescents. Adolescents' negative views may be associated with their self-esteem, with negative views of their parenting style, and adolescents with high self-esteem were less vulnerable for developing depressed moods. So again, it's a correlation, and they're not sure which way, where the information is exactly going with it, but it is, there is being more research done on it. So through the, looking at the negative effects versus the positive effects of parenting style, the negative being the authoritarian and the positive being the authoritative, I found, and I concluded within my research, that offered a great balance. Authoritative offered a good balance for parenting style. And there was some research on that. Sherry and Eckerson supported this evidence that authoritative is the most optimal parenting style. It offers a balance between rules created and some compromise. So again, the children are part of putting these rules together and putting together the consequences. The parents are still the authority within the household, but they're able to have some say in it. They're able to take some partnership in it. These parents are willing to listen to their children's needs and make changes in the parenting plan as needed. So then they can kind of come back to the table and say, if something isn't going right, what can we do to change it? And they can take everybody's input with that. It's different than just the parents making the rules. Within the authoritarian parenting style, if the parents make the rules and they don't work, then the parents are just going to more often to make more rules instead of consulting with anybody else. And this is, it's been shown to teach the children to be assertive and responsible, encouraging emotional balance and some self-regulation. they have a little bit of control in what's going on within the house, which shown to be effective. It promotes some positive social interaction, even if it is just the social interaction within the house, them sitting together and using skills to be able to have a conversation and be able to make a chart, make some lists, and be involved in the process. They're most likely to carry those social interactions over to peer groups. It increases self-esteem within adolescents as they have a sense of involvement and power within the family, which we talked about. There's a little bit of control put back on them. So we were able to make some conclusions within my research. Parenting style is definitely linked to adolescent behaviors. Again, we're not sure the exact correlation, but it is linked at this point, and there's more research being done. Adolescents respond best to limit setting, guidance, and nurturing behaviors from their parents. Again, that balance with the authoritative parenting style. Authoritative parenting style offers this balance as it creates a positive foundation for adolescents' growth and responsibility. And research indicates children parented in the authoritative environments are likely to have high self-esteem, less chance of eating disorders, and be more socially adequate. So again, the correlation wasn't saying that it won't cause them, but it's saying that it's more likely to cause the low self-esteem and the eating disorders when they're parented in the authoritarian parenting style versus the authoritative. And through authoritative parenting style, children are able to form positive attachment to their caregivers, resulting in a more positive relationship through adolescence. So as professionals, we want to promote this type of parenting style and be able to get in there and teach these parents, give them the tools that are needed, because a lot of times parents just don't know that this, what's best, what's the best way to raise my children. And things have changed, so maybe they were parented in an authoritarian parenting style, so that's what they know and that's what they are able to carry over. So it's not to blame parents, but it's more as professionals we need to be able to educate parents. It's benefiting them, educating them. Discussing the importance of building positive self-esteem in children, especially within the adolescent years. So it starts in the beginning to be able to form that attachment with them and to be able to build their positive self-esteem. And I think if parents know that they're what the effect could possibly be if they're not building their self-esteem, that could be detrimental later to them. Encouraging parents to build a more positive relationship with their child through communication. And also collaboration with the school administration and counselors within the school, because as in community mental health, we see some clients, but of course we don't see them all. And this is a study done to affect all children. So it would be good to be able to get into the schools and talk with the counselors to maybe create a forum to be able to educate these parents on this. Or maybe even a parent support group to give them those answers that they are seeking. And these are the references that were just used in the presentation. There were much more research done on the paper. Does anybody have any questions for me? Steph?
I'm just wondering if you came across any information about how parenting style affects, like in a divorce situation, where you have authoritative parent on one side and maybe a permissive on the other side, and how that impacts a child.
I definitely did come across that. It was a lot, and that's actually not even in the paper either, because it was going to be a whole nother thesis on just doing that. But yeah, definitely, the suggestions that came out of those studies were to find some sort of balance, maybe do like some co-parenting classes or anything like that, but that definitely does affect, and even not even in a divorce situation, but just having, a dad who is authoritarian and a mother who's authoritative, and trying to find those common grounds, which I think that we see in our professional life. And I know the work I do with parents is always to try to find those middle grounds and work on some, what's the goal and how we're going to be able to get there. Thanks. Good question. Anybody else have any questions? Well, thank you all very much for coming. Appreciate it.